Hello, friends. I am John, and I am the 3D 80s kid. Hello, friends. Welcome back to episode 6. This will be part 2 of my side quest through pop culture. While the first part focused on my early years, this one will take off from where that one left off and will be the year I turned 10 all the way up to my senior year of high school. I hope you enjoy this little journey through pop culture of the mid-80s to the early 90s. Kicking things off from 1984 Fleer, we've got a card from the original Dune movie, directed by David Lynch, and his movies were a bit out there with some mind trippiness that kind of went over the head of someone that was only 10 years old at the time, but nevertheless, it was still a memorable movie to me. Starring Kyle MacLachlan as the lead character, and some notable actors included in this were Patrick Stewart, as you can see on this card on the left side, and also Sting was one of the main villain characters of this movie. So, still a fun watch, even though it's a little strange. I think they've done a better job with the latest movie offering, but nevertheless, this was memorable to me. Up next, from 1984 tops, we've got Gizmo from the movie Gremlins. It was a fun comedy, horror, Christmas movie combination that was very popular in 84, and everybody wanted their own Mogwai at that point as a pet in their home, regardless of the potential dangers. Here from 1985 by Hasbro, we've got Transformers cards with Starscream and Soundwave. Now, this is one of those instances where I actually encountered some pop culture cards that are expensive, as Megatron and Optimus Prime were out of my price range for what I was willing to spend on this collection. And I was able to pick up these folks here for only a couple bucks a piece. So, nevertheless, Starscream was basically prominently screwing up Megatron's plans in every episode, thanks to his personal ambitions. And Soundwave was honestly one of the coolest characters, with the freaky voice he had and the really creepy little cassette tape panther transforming thing he had that would go inside of him. So here's my 2 examples from Transformers, which was one of the 2 staple cartoons of my viewing every day after elementary school. Hey, you guys! Here we are, 1985 tops. We've got some Goonies cards. I had to go with Sloth card. He was my favorite character in the movie, played brilliantly by former NFL great John Matuszak, who was a star player with the Raiders during their 70s heyday, and did an excellent job in this film as the lovable Sloth. And alongside, I've got one of the other stars of this movie was Mr. One-Eyed Willie, whose treasure they were hunting the whole time. I thought it was great to have this card here, so enjoy. And here we have the other half of my everyday after-school duo of cartoon watching, with G.I. Joe, here from 1986 Milton Bradley set. This is actually another scenario where I found there are some very expensive cards in this set. For whatever reason, the Snake Eyes card is very popular and very expensive. followed close behind by Cobra Commander. So I cheaply picked myself up here, Bazooka and Flint, to add to my set. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. And the Hulkster explodes. Wow, he certainly did explode during the 80s onto the scene. Almost every kid became a watcher of WWF, as it was known during that time, before the lawsuit from the World Wildlife Fund made them change their name. So here I ended up picking up a cheap example from 1987 Topps, as I wasn't looking to break the bank. I just wanted an example in my collection to mark the time where everybody knew the Hulkster. The guy was not, that great of a wrestler, honestly. It was all charisma and shtick that made him popular. But every kid knew about him, and he had a horde of fans. Up next, from 1987 Topps, we've got Alf. Alf came at a perfect time for me to be a fan, with me entering teenagerhood there. His brand of snarkiness with his humor was a great combination for me at the time. I actually had a poster of Alf on my wall that year, so I had to include a card from him, and enjoy. And here we have Bon Jovi. This one's from a 1991 Brockham Rock card set, but the bigger year for them for me was actually 1987. That would have been my 7th grade year when they dominated the charts with their Slippery When Wet album. Basically, the first school dance I ever attended was that year, and they played all of their hit songs, and I ended up buying a cassette tape of them, which was the first cassette tape I had ever purchased. So there we have Bon Jovi, and just a cheap example I was able to acquire. From the 1991 Impel Star Trek set, we've got Captain Jean-Luc Picard and Lieutenant Commander Data, my two favorite characters from the Star Trek Next Generation series, which premiered in 1987 and ran till 94, and basically became the Star Trek cast for our generation. Seemed like a much more appealing show to me than the original, with a lot more character development and a lot less Captain Kirk taking his shirt off. So enjoy. Extreme close-up. Whoa! From the 1992 Star Pick Saturday Night Live set, we've got Wayne's World with Wayne and Garth. The skit premiered in 1988, which was coinciding with my freshman year of high school. Basically, lunchtime Monday with the guys was talking about, in large part, the Saturday Night Live that had appeared that weekend. This ultimately for us culminated in the movie coming out during our senior year, February of 1992. And for us, the movie did not premiere opening weekend in our town, so it became a little road trip with myself and 3 other guys, where we drove to a town 35 miles away as an adventure to go see the movie on its opening night. So it was fun times and an experience. From the same set, we've got Toonces, the cat who could drive a car. This one just hits a little close to home to me now, with my oldest being 16 years old. And if you've never seen this skit, I would do a quick search on YouTube, as I'm sure you can pull up an old one and check it out. And again, from the same set, we've got a lesser-known recurring character from Mike Myers. It only appeared 4 times in 1989, but it left a mark on me as I have continued to use the phrase of things being not Scottish to the point where my wife is familiar and all my kids are familiar with what I mean when I say it. Because if you haven't seen this skit, the tagline goes, "All things Scottish. If it's not Scottish, it's crap." And basically became the voice for Mike Myers that turned into Shrek. So I hope you enjoy this one. And my last card for today is again from the Saturday Night Live set. As you can tell, Saturday Night Live was the biggest cultural, pop culture thing going through my high school years, and became a conversation piece for me and my buddies quite a bit. So last card here is the Chris Farley classic skit with Chippendales that was alongside Patrick Swayze, and both these guys unfortunately died way too soon. They were both really great people that had a lot more to give, and it is quite unfortunate that we lost them. Still, every time Tommy Boy is on the TV, I end up not changing the channel and watching that thing again. So hope you enjoyed this episode. My next video, I will dive back into baseball cards, and hopefully I will see you then. Goodbye for now.